Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to head into game number 2 between MacSed and Select. Let's go ahead and get into it right now. So we're going to be heading over to Antigua Shipyard. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have as the red Terran Select from Team Dignitas, MacSed in the top left-hand corner as the yellow Protoss. Now, Antigua Shipyard, I mean, you are the Protoss resident expert. Let me get your thoughts. How do you feel about Antigua Shipyard PvT?
I feel like Antigua Shipyard is really quite a balanced map for PvT, to be honest. Particularly when there is no gold expansion, as GSL has so smartly removed, and all the tournaments of note have followed that, as well as you guys have.
Yes.
And it's a very good decision. No gold expansion. That means no mule crazy efficiency gold mining. And I think that makes the map really balanced, really interesting. There is all sorts of aggression possible, but also macro games possible. I think, in fact, some of the best PvTs get played on this map. I really do. So it's possible to go for a straight Nexus or straight command center. It's also possible to go with a little bit more safe barracks and gateway opening, feel each other out, and choose the definitive build order later on. Now, what we see from MacSed is that... Oh, nothing special. I thought he was going to go without an assimilator for a bit, but there he went. He went for the 13 gateway, 15 gas, and he scouts straight cross map, and it's about the most normal thing you can do. Select also scouting, and he went with a refinery, which gives possibilities to Marauder openings, Hellion openings, or Banshee openings. No way to guess yet which one it's going to be.
Yep. Or you can just go for an expansion. There's obviously a lot of different possibilities he can do from here, so we'll see. You can keep an eye out for that. Look at that, he actually canceled his first Marine. But okay, he remakes it. Oh, just to free up some money for the Orbital Command Center and the Supply Depot at the same time.
Yeah, so that he could wall in that probe, get a definitive kill. And of course he will clear up that probe before he shows what tech he's going to do. A cute little trick that I do sometimes is I make a pylon there where the supply depot is going to come, and then that's my ticket out of the base. So I'll scout around the base, then I'll squeeze past the pylon and I'll cancel it.
Yep, good way to save 50 minerals. Well, save 25 minerals rather. At least 25 minerals, I should say, because...
And active presence on the other side of the map.
That's true.
Went for a reactor and he stopped mining gas, so it's just like what you said. You can also go for an expansion. He stops mining gas, gonna make a command center now in his own base, out of vision of the probe. We see a reactor. No way of knowing for the Protoss whether this is gonna be mass Marines to support Hellion, tank, or Medivac or Banshee, or whether it's just gonna be a barracks that acts like 2 barracks to support an expansion build. So nice little smoke trail being laid here by Select, Master Magician Select, with a bag full of tricks. And MacSed has gone for the Zealot Stalker 1 gate expansion opening and follows up the 3rd unit as a sentry. And that's a prudent choice.
Yeah, I like this little aggression that he's going to be doing, although I don't think, I think this will just be outside the base. I don't think he should actually poke up there, and the reason for that is because it really won't do much. He's going to see a couple Marines there, always. I mean, the reactor went up. You're not really going to see much after that, so... I don't know what he's trying to accomplish too much, but he does see the 2nd refinery. That is pretty clutch. I'm very surprised.
I want to say again, that's like bad info for him, because he sees reacted Marines and he sees the 2nd refinery, so that's going to give rise to thoughts, suspicions of a tech build.
Exactly.
Except there weren't quite enough Marines. You're not going to just have 3 Marines if you had been making factory starport and so forth. Unless you'll be hiding some of them, because you would be able to be broken by a dedicated 4-gate build. Well, we just saw a sentry take down the SCV on the left side of the map. Select did see an expansion. That's about all he saw. But yeah, MacSed cannot in good conscience skip his robotics facility. No matter what his suspicions are about a small amount of Marines or seeing the 2nd refinery, has to have him make the robotics facility. So that's fine though, it's a pretty standard build, gives rise to all sorts of good transitions in the early game, gives you information, gonna probably make an observer pretty soon. It's all fine, but he can't do like a super corner cutting 6-gate Twilight High Templar tech or something like that.
Yeah.
He has to play it normal. No undue risks here. And Select is also playing normal. He's not playing anything crazy. So very solid play from both. I'm very happy to see.
I think Select right now has the slight advantage just because he has he's put his opponent on a place where his opponent really doesn't know anything that he's doing. Right now he's going up against the ranges, a fast expansion, Banshee tech, 1-1-1, mass, maybe even a 2-1. There's a lot of different builds that are in Select's repertoire that he could be doing right now, and he just has no indication of that happening. That's why he's been so defensive with these observers. You can see the observer is actually just staying right outside of the natural, waiting for some sort of all-in. You can see all the sentries, the zealots, the stalkers in defensive positions defend against something like banshees, and that's going to help out a lot.
This is really bad for MacSed. He has completely halted probe production since a very long time ago. I don't think that's a very sound strategy in any case, even in the case of a Terran 1-1-1 all-in, which is, I guarantee you, what he thinks is coming. He went for 5-gate Robo Observer, quit all probe production. That's 100% a counter, an attempted counter in an event to 1-1-1. Only now resuming probe production, and actually Select went for a bio, ghost, all-in type of thing. There are 3 stalkers at home. He didn't make terrible amount of units. I think he's going to be quite fine against this bio attack, but I'm afraid for him in the transition. Here we come. Ghost going up.
Oh god, and there's the big EMPs. Is it going to be enough? It looks like nice force shields actually go down. That's going to trap a lot of the Marines in forward. That gives the power to the Zealots, so he will have to back up. I thought that MacSed was in a ton of trouble there, but you're absolutely right. He was able to fend that off very nicely. It looks from there, Select does back off. He does have those 2 ghosts still. That's a big helper there, but overall,
that's
nice
a big help by him. It was a nice defense, but I wouldn't say it was very good for MacSed. He is now looking at a 37 probe deficiency to 38 SCV. He has 1 worker less, and with those mules, you need to be at about 45 probes minimum now, preferably more. He is vastly behind in economy, and you could say he was on a defensive all-in. It's a new little term that I decided to coin right here. It was a defensive all-in.
Yeah.
He stopped making probes, and he wanted to crush the 1-1-1 type of attack. He didn't crush this attack. It's always interesting to look at the units lost tab after such a fight, and we see actually MacSed is ever so slightly ahead. But because of the worse economy, we can say he is behind. Had he had the better economy now, then we could say, yeah, he's ahead, but really he's not. That was good for Select. That was a good even trade, and he has the better economy. And he will have 2 tech paths. He has averted all sorts of risk of a Protoss 6-gate all-in or anything like that. So he has successfully survived the scary stage of the game where Protoss can finish you off quickly, and he has both types of tech. He has Ghosts and Medivacs, and that is nearly the equivalent of Protoss having both Colossus and High Templar with Storm.
The big thing he has to worry about are these Colossus, though, and actually there are no Vikings even in production. He's actually foregone that and gone for the fast 3rd command center, so that could be a big blow to Select. Right now, 2 additional medevacs coming out here. Thermal Lance has finished, and we might see a very, very big attack that Select might not be able to stop.
That is true, but it's a pretty wide ramp, so Splash won't completely decimate him. But this is very scary. He's using the units. Oh, beautiful EMPs there. Lots of Zealots dying. Select lost practically nothing yet in that fight. That was 8 Zealots down the drain.
Yeah, that was played very incorrect. Obviously, I mean, he should have just let the Colossus go to town on both the units and the bunkers. Until the bunkers are down, he really can't push forward with any of those units because he just doesn't have the sheer DPS or the health pool to actually do anything yet. Let's go ahead and look at upgrade 00. 04, our Protoss hero over here, 104, our Terran hero, and here we go again, pressing up on this 1 bunker, and finally,
and now MacSed is doing the correct thing. Now he's poking and keeping the rest of his army on hold position. That's what he should have done a minute ago, and he wouldn't have lost all that army.
Yes.
Now he's doing the correct thing, but I fear like he's running out of time. Vikings are coming up. huge army from Select, definitely knows what's going on. I do agree with Protoss in saying, okay, after that early to mid game, I was completely and utterly behind. Well, you know, not completely and utterly, but he was significantly behind, that he went for some type of 5-6 gate Colossus all in, but hasn't executed it perfectly yet. His Stalkers are out of position, so Vikings will be able to chase those Colossi back. And now we see a double Forge. I don't like that very much either. Double Forge at this point is basically equivalent to saying, I'm never going to get my third.
Yeah, and not only that, it's sort of like giving up in this attack. You're investing, 300 minerals and then the 2 upgrades. So it's going to be 500 minerals, 200 gas. Look at that, he's getting his third now. It just basically, like, you've been so efficient with trying to do this push, and now right at I think the most efficient point, the climax, when you have a lot of Colossus, 5 Colossus just popped out, you have a good sentry count, he's going to give it up completely.
Yeah,
and
true.
He's just killing himself with his whole build.
Yeah, because now Select knows what's up. There's no High Templar tech anywhere near completing. Hasn't even been started. And now Select knows what's up. The major threat is Mass Colossus. Those double Forge do not form a threat for him. Sometimes they do. Sometimes Terran will check the Protoss base and sees, uh-oh, double Forge. You know, he's going to have mass upgrades anytime now. But Protoss is already behind, so the Forges are not a threat. The Templar Archives that's going up now is not really a threat. It's those Colossi, and he has double Starport Reactor pumping out a lot of Vikings. So in about 1 to 2 minutes, Select is going to have a sweet spot where he can probably just move in and go kill MacSed. The army supply looks good for MacSed, but it's the unit type really here that tells the whole story, I do think.
Yeah, this composition is just beautiful for Select. He's just going to wait and, as you said, mass up in those Vikings. And what's going to happen, he's going to probably push out with somewhere around 16 to 20 Vikings. And the reason why I say that is because it's a good number where you can just let your Vikings go, and they'll do enough DPS fast enough where they'll kill all the classes before anything really happens.
True.
I say this is kind of weird because normally when you're going for gas, you don't get this many Colossus, and the reason for that is because you don't have the ability to make that many Stalkers. The Stalker's the one that actually defends your Colossus against the Vikings. Right now, obviously, with 7 Colossus, that represents a huge amount of gas, 1,400 gas right there. With 1,400 gas, you're really cutting the amount of Stalkers by, a huge margin. Basically, these Vikings are going to go unopposed, and they're going to be able to do anything they want.
Yeah, and as you said, if he gets a high Viking number, that's definitely going to be worth it. Small amounts of Colossi can be taken down gradually, but this big army of Colossi will obliterate your army in seconds. So you want to take down as much as possible, and you want to have enough Vikings so that they can survive to do just that.
Yep, and the micro for this, Grubby, is super easy. Basically, you EMP, you let your Vikings go, and then your Marines and Marauders just either chase if the Colossus are backing up completely and they're on move command, or they just run away if they're trying to chase your Marines and Marauders.
That's true. And for Protoss, they just want to get their Colossus in range of the bio, but if they run forward, Vikings will take them down. If they run back, army can fight. Here we go, big EMP like you said. Vikings are on shift-click on the Colossi. 3 already got taken down. Bio is careening back and forth, never took a direct hit from the Colossus yet. Beautiful micro there by Select. And almost all the Colossi are down. Still a big ball of Marauders, and now the force fields are working in Select's favor. He took down all the Colossus, and that was the major threat. Elevator up, very quick decision making there by Select, and it's the right decision, taking down those 2 Forges probably, which are not quite done yet with 2-2 upgrades, and it's just looking really, really good for Select at this point.
Yeah, that's super critical, and now he's just going to continue on. He should just pop out there. Look at how fast he actually gets all of his units. He doesn't even leave a single Marauder behind. He's just going to continue macroing from here. He's getting 174 supply to his opponent's 143, but here all he has to do is go Ghost Marine Marauder, knowing that his opponent just has no capability of remaxing Colossus. Normally you will see a scan directly on top of the robotics facility though, just to check, but his Viking count is pretty sufficient, and just the sheer power of his upgrades should basically negate any form of Colossus damage. I love where Select is at right now. He's in the best possible position.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think upgrades are like super important against either High Templar or Colossus because there's so much AoE, but they are incredibly important against gateway-based armies, which is basically mostly what MacSed has.
Ooh.
Nice feedbacks there.
Yep.
Took down most of the ghosts and energy. Will be able to maybe get some good storms now, but look at Select. He's not running in, he's splitting his army into little pockets.
Yeah,
there we go.
Really intelligent.
Nice storms.
Ooh, needs to back up there. Cannot afford to actually get into that particular thing. But there we can see a couple of reinforcements on the bottom side. Select is just overrunning his opponent. Nothing
Coming
left
from
on the
every
field.
Side. And a big drop there at the third base of MacSed. Did you see that? Select was going from every side.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking sick. In the meantime, there is 2 High Templars on the mid right-hand side in Select's base, but they're not doing anything at all. Select is just going to push forward into what looks like the natural or the third with basically a main Marauder ball. But MacSed obviously has nothing to deal with this, and this is going to spell GG pretty soon. Marauder's just continuing on. The probes are under attack. 2-2 is just now started up, but that's it. GG comes out, and Select will take the second game. And that's it. Select takes the 2-0 win. You know, MacSed, we talked about this, and particularly the Chinese-Taiwan scene. It always seems in a lot of the games that I've seen before, not only in StarCraft 2, but StarCraft 1, I've seen in Heroes of Newerth, and again in LoL, and I wouldn't say too much in Dota. I mean, Dota, they definitely have their different style, but overall, they always tend to be a little bit behind in the metagame, and I think this game really showcased that overproducing in Colossus, allowing your opponent to hard counter you very, very drastically. That's exactly what we saw this time around, and you know, what could MacSed actually do? I mean, as soon as you make that critical number of Colossus that early in the game, it's basically handing it over to your opponent as soon as they identify what you're doing.
Yeah, because then they become a liability, basically, instead of a strength.
Exactly.
That's like the most simple way of saying it. And just to make a small remark on that metagame aspect, I think you hit it exactly on the nail, actually. I don't want to generalize every Chinese player. I can really only judge what I've seen from MacSed so far. But I feel like he has potential. He's doing some nice move, good pylon locations. He has some nice build orders, but yeah, he is behind. This is something that we've seen many months ago, like going Colossus, keep making Colossi. He's not hitting any of the most critical timings, yeah, and so forth. But that's as far as MacSed is concerned. Regarding like the general metagame over the various games, you mentioned that there are different competitive titles whereby you've analyzed more or less the same thing with Chinese players.
Yeah.
In Warcraft 3, it was the opposite. They were the forerunners of Warcraft 3 strategy. So they definitely do have it in them. Chinese they're very competitive. They're super hard working. They were ahead in Warcraft 3 in many ways. Always the newest strategies came out of there the last couple of years or so because they had a really brewing esports scene. And I think we have to wait and let the Chinese catch up a little bit, again, at the risk of generalizing. But I do think they have vast amounts of potential, and I hope we're going to see some of that from MacSed, at least, perhaps in the next game.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, MacSed taking IM MVP, just a single game, even though he lost 1-2, but even taking him out is a big accomplishment. You could definitely tell there's a lot of potential. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, overgeneralize or anything, but a lot of times we do see consistent trends. Obviously, you guys probably know about the North American server, European server, and Korean server. They do have their I wouldn't say styles overall, maybe 50% at least, or maybe even 40%, but it's just all different categories. Still, I'm not going to delve too much into that. But that being said, 2-0 for Select. We're going to be moving on into game number 3 after this break, so everybody stay tuned.